All right, Rob, let's go here. I mean, there's a lot of different angles, and we're going to be talking NBA Finals all show long, just different aspects of it and everything. Jayson Tatum, who is the best player on the Celtics, first-team All-NBA player, did not get the Finals MVP. That was Jaylen Brown, and we'll get into that. But Tatum was the best player last night, 31 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds. But again, basically proves he can be the best player on a championship team. So do your thoughts, Rob, of Jayson Tatum change, or do you think the public's thoughts? I don't know what your feeling about Tatum was, but do you think the public's view of him will change, if not yours?
I just think the only thing is when you have that, it's something that can't be taken away from you. People can't hold that over your head because they could say, Chris, prior to last night, yeah, you could get all the stats you want. You could win all the games you want, but you couldn't win the big game when it really matters, blah, 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 blah. And now you don't have that. Just like there were people told Giannis, you're crazy to stay in Milwaukee. You'll never win there. What are you doing? He won. So that conversation went away. And then Jayson Tatum, he's a made man now. And no matter what, they don't have to win again. A lot of people don't win multiple. They might win one in their career, Chris. And probably,
so many great ones didn't get one. Barkley, Ewing, Malone, and Stockton.
Reggie Miller. We could go on and on and on about guys who never got one. It's not that easy to win. So for him, he has to feel it's a relief to be able to get out there and play. And a lot of people picked against him. I know they were the favorites in Las Vegas, Chris. But if you go back to the beginning of the finals, I mean, people look like it was all about the Dallas Mavericks, and we're talking about the greatest backcourt and Luka and blah, 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 and the Celtics' shortcomings and all that other stuff, and they didn't play anybody in the East, and it's fool's gold to buy into what they're doing and whether or not that and I think you might have said this or maybe a couple other people. But, whoever comes out of the West is going to be the champion. Like, people just looked at the West as...
The West is a far better conference.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So people looked at the West that way.
Best team, but they definitely were a way better conference.
Right. Yeah. So coming out of that, a lot of people, except for Vegas, and I told you this before, Vegas is about trying to just get as many people to bet on both sides. They're not picking favorites. They want equal money on both sides. And they win big, Chris. That's what Vegas does. So I just think he's a made man now, no matter what.
No, it was great for him. Will he silence all the doubters? Probably not. Steph Curry still had doubters until he won Finals MVP. He won 3 championships, was a 2-time MVP, only unanimous MVP ever. And he still had doubters until he won that Finals MVP in his 4th ring. Kevin Durant still has doubters, Rob, and he's got 2 Finals MVPs, but people think they were easy rings. And so Tatum probably will still have those naysayers out there about him, but I think this is one thing I definitely think, Rob, because there had been something to the finals messing with him. Like, he has not played up to his normal standards in the finals. And I'm talking about not just this series, but going back to Golden State 2 years ago, mainly with this shot. And I do feel like last night he exercised those demons, so to speak. And I say that because I thought he played a very good game. 31 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, had 9 assists in the first half to help them break it open, along with like 16 points or something like that, 16 to 18 points to break open the game. And I even thought, Rob, now I have no problem with Jaylen Brown being the MVP because he was more consistent early in the series, really only had 1 bad game. But Jayson Tatum led the Celtics, Rob, in points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game in the finals. He also was the only Celtic to have 2 or more 30-point games. And so I look, leading a team in all those categories, I know he only shot 39%, and that was his downfall. But he was drawing the attention. He drives and kicks or drives and draws the double team better than anybody else on the team. And he was finding his teammates for baskets all throughout the series. I thought he played a very strong floor game the entire series. I thought he just didn't shoot well. But Chris, nobody really shot well. Jaylen Brown only shot 44% and 24% from three. So neither team really shot well at all. And let me quickly give you this, Rob. These are the players who led their teams in the playoffs in points, rebounds, and assists and won the championship that year. Jokic, LeBron's done it 3 times. Tim Duncan, Akeem Olajuwon, and Larry Bird, who did it twice. And they all won finals MVP. The only one who did it and didn't get the finals MVP was Jayson Tatum.
Yeah, I thought he got robbed last night. I got to admit.
Did you?
I really did. I think he got robbed.
I think robbed is too strong personally, because I get, this was not, to me, I think Iguodala getting it over Steph was robbery. Steph averaged 10 more points than any other Warriors player and was 26 points a game. But this, I thought, I would have voted for Tatum, Rob. He lost 7 votes to 4 votes. But I can't say robbery because I thought it was very close.
The only reason I say robbery, Chris, you just talked about all the things the categories, and I agree. We know he didn't shoot. That 6 for 22 really hurt him. But in the big game, in the big moment, he came up big, almost had a triple-double. Right. Closeout game. Come on, man. That's not automatic in a closeout. And I think that those are the games you look at. I mean, how in the world did they look at the Kobe Pau Gasol game, Chris, in a game 7 where Kobe shot 6 for 20? What was it, 24?
6 for 24.
6 for 24.
And 18 rebounds, a lot of free throws.
Yeah, and Pau was like 19 and 18. What was it? And they gave it to Kobe still. I think that the writers missed the boat. I think they went into it with, oh no, Jaylen Brown's the MVP, and they didn't watch yesterday's game. And I'm not saying that like,
but I know what you mean, like figuratively speaking, like they really didn't take it into account.
They did,
because he was definitely the best player yesterday. And Brown shot 7 for 23. Rob, I mean, we talked 6 for 22, 7 for 23 is
who wins an MVP thing off of that? I'm just,
I mean, look, like I said, Tatum struggled throughout early in the series. And struggled, again, with his shot. Rob, his game 2, he almost had a triple-double. He had 18, 12, and I think 9. Like, I mean, he was flirting. He flirted with a couple of triple-doubles during the series. But, yeah, we're on the same boat in that I would have voted for Tatum. I don't think it was as much of an injustice as you do, but I would have voted for him. Let me say this before we open it up to the listeners, Rob. Because here's something for those, maybe the haters of Tatum. And Tatum is not on the level of Jokic, Luka, Giannis, Embiid. Like, Embiid's weird because he's never healthy in the playoffs. But, he's like slightly below the elite of the elite right now. But he is a legitimate first-team All-NBA player. And, Rob, these are the players. Now, he's only 26 years old. These are the players who have, before the age of 27, have 3 first-team All-NBAs at least and a championship. Kareem, Giannis, Bird, Kobe, Tim Duncan, Magic. Then we go old school, George Mikan, Bob Pettit, and Dolph Schayes. All of those players are top 75 all-time, and Jayson Tatum.
He belongs.
I mean,
in
the
that
dude
group.
is balling. That's a heck of a group, Rob.
Right. To be in that group with those names, Chris, is phenomenal, and he deserves it.
Yep.
And he got it done. We talk about it all the time. I know it's sometimes it's hard to see, and you can't win until you win, Chris. It's just I don't know what other thing to say. And then some people never win, and we get that. And there was reason to have some questions about the Celtics. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here going, They were a layup for everybody. But there was something about this team this year with the wins that I just could not ignore anymore. And that's why I finally said I think they're going to win it all.
Well, what they did, what they avoided, because, we talk about teams, you got to suffer, you got to lose, you got to have the pain, and then you overcome. Well, everybody doesn't overcome.
Right.
Sacramento
it ain't
of
automatic.
Chris Webber.
They never
Portland
won,
of Rasheed
and they had
Wallace.
pain.
Yep, Phoenix of Steve Nash. Like, there are a lot of teams that are really good teams, Harden in Houston with Chris Paul, that never quite get over the hump. And Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown assured that they would not be in that group last night. All right, Jayson Tatum and the Boston Celtics winning the championship. Your thoughts?
Biento in West Palm Beach. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What up?
What's going on?
How are you?
Broussard Rob Parker.
You were
good,
so
man. How are
wrong
you?
about the Celtics, and I'm glad you called to. I'm glad you called to acknowledge and admit you were way wrong.
Yeah, I had the Mavs in 5. Very embarrassing take. But I tell you,
It happens.
Yes.
I had him in 6. Don't let Rob big time you. Please.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm just glad that he called back, Chris. That's all. Most guys, they don't.
They don't have
make
to call back.
No, but most times people call when they're right and they never call when they're wrong. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, Celtics
I'm not
really
rubbing it in
showed
his
me
face.
something. They showed me
Celtics
that
played great.
they're winners. They showed me they're winners, but it didn't really change how I felt about Tatum too much. Because I always felt like he just wasn't a number one guy. And I felt like the pressure of being the number one guy always got to him in pressured situations. And they leaned towards Brown in a lot of those moments. Because Tatum would turn the ball over. But at least
I don't think they really
Tatum
leaned toward him. He played bigger most of the series than Jayson did. But, I mean, Jayson took the most shots. Jayson played the most minutes. You know what I mean? The ball late was often in Jason's hands. So I just think Jayson had one issue. He was missing shots.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
I was curious about his take on Kyrie and whatnot. We'll get into that as
He
well.
was missing
Josh,
shots. That's really
Josh in Arizona. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Josh?
What's happening? How y'all doing? Appreciate y'all letting me on.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
It didn't change me, in my opinion of Tatum too much. I think when you're the best player on the team, those percentages, they just do something to me to where you can't be shooting like that. I mean, I get it. He was rebounding, assisting, playmaking, defending, but it didn't change it. I think it's just a level below, those guys, Kevin Durant, LeBron, Kerr, just a little level below. That's okay. And real quick, why I think Brown got the MVP, I wouldn't have been mad if Tatum would have got it. I just think that we get so caught up in the offensive side of the ball that we don't focus on that other half of basketball, which is defense. And
that's fair, but
Brown,
7 for 24 in a closeout
23.
game is 23 is not. I get the defensive part, but that's a bad shooting night to win an MVP.
Yeah.
And also, their whole team defended well. Like, I mean, and they take this for what it is, because Luka's defensive rating was great. So, these analytic defensive numbers are kind of strange. But Tatum and Brown had the same defensive rating in the series.
There you go, Chris.
That's
a good number, right? But you
it ain't like Tatum doesn't defend. And Luka, nobody's the primary defender on anybody anymore, because I guess, you're switching everything. Right.
Right. No doubt. Carl, in Mobile, Alabama, can you feel me in the state of Alabama? I'm in here with you, Carl. What's up?
Yeah. Hey, guys. Hope y'all doing great. Also, I hope y'all give a shout-out Thursday for the big Negro League celebration coming up in Birmingham at Rickwood
Of course.
Field.
No
Yes,
doubt.
absolutely. Rob will be there.
That's
and,
right. I'll be in
we'll definitely give
attendance
it a
for
shout-out.
MLBBro.com. And as we mentioned before, it's the oldest professional stadium in the United States, Chris, built in 1910. Older than Wrigley, older than Fenway. It's the oldest ballpark
Who
in the country.
plays there now? Do they play minor league games there now? Or
They play the Barons, though. They play in a new stadium. They built a new one. The Birmingham Barons. They're a minor league team, Chris, but they play where Michael Jordan played, because Michael Jordan played for this team.
Right.
But they got a new stadium. So they don't play.
Okay, so what you got, Carl?
Hey, I don't want to be termed as somebody that's a naysayer on Jayson Tatum, but I look at this championship as one where they were so deflated when they lost in 22 that the ownership got the pieces they needed. Look at the free agent additions they got to this team, and I think that's what got them over the hump. I think when you look at the way they played the same way they always do. Sometimes they're exceptional, and sometimes they come up short, and that's okay. And they got a championship and all that, but it didn't really change anything because they got Drew Holiday, Porzingis, and who's the other big free agent pickup they got?
You're giving those guys all
Derek
the credit?
Wright a few years ago.
You're giving all those guys the credit?
I'm not giving them all the credit, but you take those free agents off the team. Do you think they win?
Yeah, but that's any team you put
you
together.
Add players, right?
I mean, come on, that they still
take Wade and Bosh away from.
I know
LeBron
LeBron, and he's not winning.
I mean, it is what it is. Tatum and Brown let them know. Tatum and Brown let them.
And Chris, that's my point. Is that if those guys don't play well and the pieces that they added, they're not winning the title. Come on.
One thing people don't see, I don't want to say people don't understand. Some don't understand it, but one thing people often overlook, it is much easier, and I'm not belittling it, but to be a role player. Derek White defends well and shoots threes. But the guys that set the table and the guys that the defensive focus on and the guys that the pressure is on are Tatum and Brown. And that's true for every team. The best player or two, Chris, they get the pressure. And
they get
role
the game
players got to do their job.
They're not game planning role players. Stop it. It's those guys. Here's what we need to do to stop these guys. This is what the game plan is.
Absolutely.
So I'm not saying that role players don't have a big part in it, but on the day that they finally get over the hump, for us talk to be about the role players, I'm not with it. I'm just not.
I'm with you. I'm with you.